if you're not careful, you actually can become the administrator of your business. You just lose sight of why you got into the business.
My guest today, Cameron Hemphill, has seen this play out across more than 1,000 businesses. He built Growth 99 into the go-to platform for medical aesthetics practices nationwide. He's scaled businesses from 6 to 8 figures and walked away on his own terms after a private equity exit.
You're selling what you built, you're selling your brand, you're selling your every single day of what you do. Your identity also gets wrapped up in that mess.
Everything he learned scaling over 1,000 businesses, we're bringing it straight to yours today.
But if you get it to that point, that's where you really, really create generational wealth. And that's what they have to understand, because you have the ability to do it. You're right there. You just have to get out of your own way.
I'm Andrea Libros, and this is She Thinks Big. All right, Cameron. First of all, I am so glad you're here. And I just want to start with something that I think a lot of my listeners need to hear. You came into the med spa space from the outside, right? You weren't a practitioner. And I think maybe that's your biggest advantage. I don't know. What do you think?
Could be. Absolutely could be. I look through it from a different lens, more of a business investor process-oriented lens from a marketing lens. I developed business acumen at a very early age. Going back to high school all the way through college, I started doing business at a very early age, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. And, I picked up on things, asked questions, was never afraid to dig into things and explore, why systems worked a specific way, why people do things a specific way. I don't know. I have that entrepreneurial brain, that methodical process of, can we do this more efficiently?
Yeah. What was your first business? I just have to know before we go going.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
curiosity.
I could
What was
go.
the 18-year-old business?
Shit. I had a cell phone business at one point in time. I had ATM machines at one point in time.
Really?
Yeah, I had multiple ATM machines. That was interesting. I wish we scaled it. It worked. It created cash. Really, I was just too young and didn't have enough capital at my disposal to really make it scale. We learned a lot though. And another business we had, I had a mall kiosk. Do you remember Zag?
Yeah.
Zag, you'd put the cover plate on your phone.
Yes.
I had a few of those locations in Arizona. I lived in Utah. I sold real estate. I built a real estate team. I've had a furniture business. I've had a CRM business. I was a Salesforce consultant for 10 years. I've had hair salons.
All right. So what did you see in this med spa space that you thought like the insiders in that space were missing?
Yeah, good question. I think it kind of goes back to the intent of really the mission, right? So I got married, 11 years ago. I met my wife 12 years ago, and she has been in the salon beauty business for 20 years, doing very well. And I'm a systems-oriented tech guy. She is not. She's a artist, right? She connects with human beings, interacts, artists. I'm looking at how she manages her schedule, how she manages her books, how she interacts with her patient, or not her patients, but her clients. And it's all like, it's all written down, right? There is no tech. Yeah. There's no online booking. She's constantly texting back and forth. I want to book the time. And then she was writing it down. We're going back into like 2012. Okay.
Okay.
So as we record, this is 2026. But I always looked at things through a tech lens because I'm like, well, why don't you have a system or process? Like, why do you not have online booking? Square was out by then. How do you know who all your clients are? Why don't you send them mass emails, mass text messages? Why are you not using products like, she was all cash and check too? Why are you not using it like, Venmo? Have you heard of Venmo? So when I see something, I'm like, I could scale this and blow it up. Now, if you roll the clock back to those years, that's how med spas were operating their function, right? They weren't using online booking. They had very old, antiquated websites or no websites. They were texting to book. They had, their charting systems were not electronic. And so, as I saw that industry really starting to take path and continue to grow, it was an area that I wanted to get into. In fact, I had a buddy that was acquiring a medical aesthetics practice in 2014. And I'm an entrepreneur. He trusts my opinion, came to me, asked me what I thought. I said, look, I think this industry is about to take off, man. And if you can acquire it for this price, you're a skilled entrepreneur. I am too. We can apply marketing to it, systems, operations, something that no one's doing. I think you can create something pretty special here. And so that was our pilot. That practice is still around there. They're seeing like 70 patients a day.
Mm,
Enterprise value of that practice, I won't even name, I won't drop the name, but it's probably worth 30 million. He
okay.
paid 20 grand for it.
That's a good return on investment.
Yeah, he's done all right there. They haven't sold it, but they will one day.
All right. So he's obviously scaled that business, right? He scaled it. Like, what do you think is the difference between just making something look successful and actually making that business scalable? I mean, I read somewhere that only med spas usually only spend under $2,500 a month on marketing.
Well, we did a study. So I founded a company called Growth 99. Growth 99, I took it from I took it from one customer to 2,000 practices, 2,000 rooftops in a very short period of time. And the value proposition was patient acquisition and patient conversion. So we'd spin up the websites, we did the digital marketing front end, but they had a very bad way of converting. We'd actually generate the lead. The practitioner is busy seeing a patient 9 times out of 10 because most med spas are owned by a single provider. They don't have time to follow up the lead. So I implemented CRM. I actually brought CRM to medical aesthetics. I was the first one to do it. So when the lead hit, it would hit them with an automated text, automated email, convert it, push it into the EMR systems. And to kind of build on that, I'm a 20-year CRM guy. I built CRMs for real estate and Franklin Covey going back into my early days. But when you look at a medical aesthetics practice, they think traditionally Instagram, social media is 100% of the marketing initiative. Which, look, their patients, clients hang out on that platform. It's a great platform to have exposure, and it's free, and it obviously has a tremendous amount of reach. I don't want to downplay that at all, but there's an entire other ecosystem around it. Website SEO, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Meta, the whole suite. Now you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have Snapchat, you have all these platforms. And so they need to really be marketing on all channels. This is a cash pay type of environment. And when you look at what a average medical aesthetics practice brings in annually, the average is right around 1.4 million.
Okay.
And if you're spending $2,500 a month on marketing and that's your top line revenue, like, your ratios are way off. You should be spending about 10% of your top line revenue on marketing. So let's just make the numbers easy. Let's say it's 100 grand a month. They should
Yep.
be spending 10,000 a month. Right? Because
Yep.
there's market demand. The market is out there. If you're not spending money, you're basically just saying, okay, I want them to go to an alternative practice, which I guess that's fine. But if you're looking to scale, I have a hard time understanding, if there's demand, why not take the demand if you can
Uh-huh.
handle it? That number is actually improved. So that stat that you pulled, that was from a 2024 study. So
Okay.
the 2025 study is actually even more interesting. The practices that are now spending 5,000 a month, their ratios, their revenue to ratio on marketing spend is getting better. They're spending more, okay, because they actually are the ones that understand it. They can see the ROI. They have the CRMs. They have the KPIs, the benchmarks, and they're seeing the return. So they're going to spend more. The ones that are still under investing are the ones that do not have the mechanisms in place to check return on capital, return on ad spend. And so they're not sure if their marketing is working. And so what they do is, when they want to cut budgets, the first thing they do is they go to marketing, because it's easy to whack. It's easy to kill the website guy, give it to your patient for trade or whatever. And those are the ones that are actually losing a tremendous amount of market share today. Yeah, it's like any business, it's if you're going to spend money on marketing, you're going to do, podcasts like this, you're going to put YouTube stuff out there, you're going to have Facebook, Instagram ads, website. You have to consolidate your lead flow. Um, or else you're really just throwing money at the wall and hoping that most of it converts while you're not having a systematic solution in place and really knowing what your conversion rate could be or should be,
Uh-huh.
right? And so
Uh-huh.
most practices, even business owners, they truly don't have the math behind the sales engine or the lead engine. I'll reverse engineer it for you. So let's say you are a business or a practice owner, you're looking to generate 100 leads a month. Well, the first thing you have to know is what do those leads cost? What is the CPL, the cost per lead? And then when you apply resources to it, what is the patient acquisition cost or customer acquisition cost? Once you know what those numbers are, then you could say, okay, if it costs me $50 to obtain a lead, 100 leads, you can do the math. Now, let's say I want to convert 50% of those. You can pretty well get an idea of how many patients you can at least put a target out there and
Mm-hmm.
understand what that target is and be able to have goals to achieve your target results.
So tell me about the speed, though, of converting, right? So I've heard you say that the speed to lead is more critical now than ever, right? Um, I find that too in my business. It's like you gotta if they're searching for you, they're interested in that moment. And they may not be interested a week later or 3 weeks later or a month later. Help me translate that conversion time for someone who's hesitating to invest in systems. Like, what is she actually losing, or he?
Yeah, they're losing a patient. They are look, somebody goes to the internet or is scrolling on Instagram or a social channel and they raise their hand, right? I'm
Yep.
interested. And
Yep.
that could be spontaneous. That could be like forward thinking. They're taking action. They're going to Google, conducting a search, or we
Mm-hmm.
could interrupt them through scroll. So let's look at both avenues. If I have an event coming up, right, and I need to get something done, in this case, let's use Botox because I can get rid of the wrinkles pretty quick. I can go to the internet if I don't have a local provider that I trust, and I'm going to conduct a search. Well, the best practices within your proximity are going to pop up depending on SEO and all that stuff. If you inquire and you make a phone call and they don't answer, they don't get back to you, they don't have like AI agents getting back to you, you're going to just call the next person. Unless there's loyalty there to where you already have a practice you go to, right? Where then you already have the
Mm-hmm.
embedded booking widgets and all that stuff. You really just want to have somebody have a conversation with you, get you on the books, get you in, and get the treatment you're looking for. The other avenue is if you're scrolling and you're actually deploying ad dollars to your social media, and I'm scrolling and I stop. You actually, yeah, you catch my attention,
Yep.
and I inquire. That's more of a. I mean, once you start scrolling for another 10 seconds, you've already forgot, right? So if that practice doesn't start engaging with you right away, chances of you converting that lead, I think data shows after 2 minutes, chances drop by 80%.
Sad.
It is sad.
It's sad. It's
You better
sad.
be on it. You better be on it.
You better be on it. So, all right. So the moral of the story is you've got to have some tight systems around capturing these leads. I mean,
Yeah.
fair?
Fair. Yeah, you have to have chatbots, widgets, form fills, online bookings. Yeah, I mean, you have to consolidate the data. And the thing is, like, let's say you just don't convert them. Let's say
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they went somewhere else. At least now you actually have the data that you can call on them, mass email them, mass text in the future. You can export the data, import it to a Facebook campaign, build out retargeting, lookalike audiences. And there's some value in that real estate.
There is a lot of value in the real estate, but it's in remembering to go back to or
Yeah.
having systems in place that go back to it. All right. So let me, I'm really big into what's the CEO mindset and what's someone thinking. And I really have watched thousands of business owners try to grow and then they kind of like self-sabotage along the way. And I'm sure
Hmm.
you've seen this happen too. What in all your years and all your businesses, what are the most predictable patterns you see of that self-sabotage? Like, we could probably, you and I could come up with 10 thoughts that these people
Yeah.
have that aren't doing this kind of thing. What do you see though as the most common thoughts or things that are getting in their way? I like to call this almost like the frenemy, right? So there's a little voice in the back of your head that's saying, don't do it. Don't put your time, money, or energy there,
Yeah.
or you kind of feel like another thing I see is you feel like you know better, like you know best. It's your business. You know who your client is. What do you see? What are the patterns that you see? What do you hear about?
Um, let's look at it through the lens of just an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right, an entrepreneur, you start to grow a business. It's fun. It's chaotic. You make your first sell, second sell. You take it from $0 a month to 100,000 to a million, eight figures, whatever you're doing. Uh, what happens along that way is really quite interesting. If you're not careful, you actually can become the administrator of your business, and you completely lose. Yeah, you just lose sight of why you got into the business. Perfect example, in fact, was myself. Was I was growing Growth 99, and um, I was very close to the accounts payable, and because it's important, there's you got to
Yeah.
have the money coming in order to fund all the marketing initiatives, pay payroll,
Right.
taxes, all this crap. And I managed that too long into the business. I mean, we had thousands of accounts, and they were billing every single day. Finally, Dan Martell, shout out to him, read his book. He's like, you have to fire yourself from certain objectives. And what I did was I immediately documented every single thing that I was doing. I'm managing accounts payable, accounts receivable, and I handed that off to a resource, and it saved me hours of time. Right, and so you always have to buy your time back.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you start a business, you start it out of passion, right? You
Yeah.
care about it. You're solving a problem. You're solving a need. You're helping people. And what happens is you really can become that administrator and lose touch with the whole reason why you created your business. And eventually, there's burnout. Burnout's so real. You hate your business. You hate the team that you're working with, and that's just you're doing yourself and the community a disservice. So it's worth it to spend the money to hire the resource. And I think some people want to hold on, like, I want to run lean. I want to run lean. But really, if you can have, like really hand off those activities to other team members, it gets you your time back and gives you the ability to focus on what matters most and get your passion back in the game. From a practitioner standpoint, it's even worse because what happens is they start to market, they start to bring in a patient flow. The patients come in, their books get full. Okay.
Yes.
Now
I'm
they're
seeing this right now with one of my clients.
it's
This is what's
it's
happening.
it's what's happening. And look, they're making good money, right?
Yeah.
Their patients are happy, they're close to them, they're having fun at work, they have intimate conversations. It's vanity, it's cute,
It's
but
trust, like they trust
trust, yeah,
you.
it's a good time. But what happens is you run that for 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. You have no time to update your website. You have no time to post on social. You have no time to think about social. You have no time to think about events, emails, systems, hire the bookkeeper, hire a practitioner, getting into wellness. I see so many practice owners right now, they don't have time to get into wellness, and they're going to miss this entire massive wave of peptides and GLP-1s that's just like taking off right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like I have a great friend right now I'm working with, and she's just phenomenal. She sees so many patients. She's making great money, and she's stuck in the sense of delegating these patients to other providers, and really just saying like, no, I don't want to take on any more patients. In fact, I'm going to go focus on provider recruitment. And so what happens is really it just starts to eat up all your time because that's what they're selling. They sell time.
Yes. So it's kind of like they've created their own ceiling,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's
right?
why like it's very hard for a practice to go to scale over 2 million. A medical aesthetics and wellness practice, it's very, very challenging if you look at the data.
So all right, so those that do, what's different about them?
They have,
Where's the
yeah, where's that
magic?
breakthrough? Where's the
Yeah.
magic?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: practitioners are extremely intelligent. They have this massive clinical background. They've gone to school. They've studied. They're academics, and
Mhm.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. Um, they get stuck in that academic environment, though, right? For
Mhm.
me, I don't have a clinical background. I have a business acumen background. And so I can see around the corner on when, okay, we're going to have an issue here if we don't solve this right away. right?
Yep.
It's almost like they don't have the time to do the math, and they don't have the time to study tech, to study marketing, to know if their marketing is working, to know how to measure, is my marketing working? Like, what is everybody else doing? What are the industry benchmarks? What should my conversions rate be? My rebookings, my attachment rates. They don't have time to build out a membership plan, and so they get stuck because they become these high income producers. I mean, I know injectors that are bringing in $1 million to $2 million a year in sales, and they're making great money, but they're busy. They're seeing a lot of patients. They're very, very busy, and they don't have the business acumen or the confidence in themselves to delegate, hire a team around them, hire a consultant, join a business mastermind, right? They
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
need to double down on business acumen. And those are the ones that do. The ones that hire a trusted business advisor, the ones that start to really start to invest in studying business, studying finance. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the ones that actually really start to get it, and those are the ones that I see really get over that hurdle and run their practice to 5 million, 10 million. And if you can get a practice that's doing $3 million in EBITDA right now, I mean those trade at 8 to 10x multipliers. So the jump is massive, right?
Yes.
Let's say you're doing $1 million a year and you operate at 20%. You're making 200 grand. Sure, you could sell it. I don't. Maybe you're going to sell it to another provider. I don't know. If you're not going to sell it to private equity, you're not going to sell it to a strategic. If you can get it to where it's doing $1 million in EBITDA, just 800 more grand, you can't do it yourself because your capacity. You just can't. But if you get it to that point, that's where you really, really create generational wealth, and that's what they have to understand. Is you have the ability to do it. You're right there. You just have to get out of your own way.
So it's almost like you have to stop practicing in the practice,
Yep, you
right?
do. Yep.
Maybe you have to start practicing in a different way, right? A different
Or
sport. You're
hire a
playing a different
CEO.
sport, or
Yeah,
hire
or
a CEO, right?
hire a
Yeah.
CEO. Hire a fractional CEO. I
But
mean,
even doing
shoot.
that, like that takes time. You have to have the mental space to even get to that place, right? To
Well,
even
most of
pause
them,
long
yeah.
enough.
Here's what
Yeah.
happens: is they build up this lifestyle. This is a vanity
Mm-hmm.
world, right? And it's just
Mm-hmm.
I say it for what it is. I've been to a lot of conferences. These practice owners, they dress to impress, like no doubt. Shoes,
Yep.
clothes, designer bags, earrings, all dolled up. It's like a competition, I swear. And and they like nice shit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that they're spending a lot of cash. My advice to practice owners would be to peel off some of that cash and invest it into a vehicle that's going to make a return on your capital, and really sacrifice. And some of them would say, "Well, we don't have the ability to hire a CEO or a fraction. It's expensive." Well, you do. You
Yes.
just have to actually pay yourself less for a short period of time, and then you're
Yep.
going to explode in growth. But it's
So it's
scary, right?
almost
So
it's scary. It's totally scary. So they're in a mode of building to survive the day to day versus building to exit or building to create generational wealth or right whatever to put them in a better financial position.
correct. And even if they're not wanting to sell, I don't care. Like
Yeah.
it's their objective. They want to build a cash cow and see patients every day and deliver transformational results. I think this is a very rewarding, long lasting career.
Uh-huh.
I don't know too many places you can go and really inject confidence into a human being. Like that's pretty special. And if but they should run their practice as if they are going to sell it, because
Right.
it buttons everything up. You get your financing correct, you get your systems correct, and if you run it that way, you'll find yourself with more profits and generating more income. And really, like if you're going to trade time for dollars, why not maximize it?
Why not maximize it? So okay, so you just said something that made me think. I talk a lot in my work about 4 freedoms that I see entrepreneurs actually chasing: freedom of time, freedom of money, relationships, and I call it freedom of brain power, being able to think about whatever you want to think about. Um, and really, this successful exit that you're talking about, or getting to a place where things feel good, I mean, they're looking for all 4 of those freedoms in that sense. Agree?
Yeah, they. I think it's freedom from yourself. I mean,
Yes, freedom from yourself.
freedom from yourself. Like being an entrepreneur is hard. It's you carry so much on your shoulders. There's like anxiety and motivation at the same time. It's like it's constantly hitting itself, and it's not for everybody. It's truly not. But if you can figure out a way for your business to run without you, it's challenging. It's extremely exciting because then you have the ability to do actually what you want to do, right? And if you love seeing patients and that's your thing and that's what gets you out of bed and running to the clinic, great. I love that. But if that's getting old for you and you want to start to manage, maybe you want to start buying additional locations. Maybe you want to build an academy. Maybe you want to build a
Mm.
conference. I don't know, publish a book. I don't know. You're just not going to have the time if you continue to operate how you always have been.
What do you love most about what you do?
Um, that's a good question. I look. I've had a couple exits in my lifespan. I'm 40 years old now, about to turn 41, and
Ooh,
I know it's coming. It's already here.
coming.
It's really interesting when you go through a transformational exit. I'll tell you, uh, it it's very financially rewarding, extremely financially rewarding, but at the same time, it's extremely scary.
Yeah.
And most people don't talk about it. It actually can create a level. It can create depression. It can
Hmm.
create because let's say you sell 100%, 50%. You're selling what you built. You're selling your brand. You're selling your every single day of what you do to another entity. And sure, there's a financial benefit to it, but at the same time, your identity also gets wrapped up in that mess,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
and that's it's really then here's what happens is you go and you have the ability to not work,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I'm an alpha male. Like I was born to hunt, I was born to kill, I was born to bring food home and put it on the table. I just am. That's just who I am. I've been a survivor ever since I was in junior high. In fact, I had my own apartment when I was 17 years old, and no one told me to go to school. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
I look, I had parents and stuff, but it was just it's an interesting situation to why it got to that point. Um, so I've always been this producer, right? And as a male with two daughters, it's almost like you're required to produce. Well, when you get to a point to where you have produced, and look, I have made very smart investments along the way, and I've acquired assets that produce income, and in my the things are good from a financial standpoint. But there is something about you, for me in particular. You have to produce to the world. You have to give in order to receive. Like there's something you can't just go sit on the beach. Look, I love to golf. I know you love to golf. I would love to golf more, but I schedule my golf still because I can't go golf every single day. I just I could because I love the game that much
Yeah.
and I love the beach that much. I totally could, but I feel like I'm dying if I do that because I'm not producing. I don't have a schedule. I'm not giving back to society, to the community. I'm not helping team members. I'm not growing at myself. Maybe my golf game's getting better. Maybe my belly's getting fatter or something. But by sitting on the beach. But I mean, for me, like what I love to do is I like to be productive. I like to produce, and I like to help people. I like to through my channels and I like to build teams, and I like to find something that's extremely unique. Right now, I'm working on a wonderful project that's very, very unique, and I'll call it a analog business that
Okay.
we're taking full digital right now, and it's going to be extremely rewarding to watch that go through, and it's going to change lives, not just on the company side, but on the customer side as well. That's what I like to do. Is I like to see transformation, and I like to help community. I hope that was probably a long answer, but
No,
I got to be
I
careful.
mean,
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to, right? Right.
yeah,
If
that's
you
what I love to do.
distill it all down.
That's right.
Yeah. Um, okay. One last question. So I talk about future you a lot and asking future you what to do today. Like you're the you a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever that is. And what do you think your future you would tell you to do today?
Stay course, stay disciplined. Look, I live a very disciplined lifestyle, and there's tendencies to get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
you have to continue to wake. Like for me, growing my company, my last company that I sold, I was up at 3:45, 4:15 every single day, and like I was putting it, and even on the weekends too. My alarm was going off
Yep.
at 4 a.m. And by 8 a.m. comes around, I put 4 hours in on a Saturday. When most people are waking up, like I've already put in a half day's work. And you compound those days, right? You compound those days, and
Yes.
over time, you can achieve so much in such a short period of time. Like if I was beating you up by 4 hours every single weekend, that's 2 weekends a week. What is that? That's 8 days a month.
Yeah.
Times
That's
that
huge.
by your 12 months. I got 8 times 12. I'm gonna kick your ass, right? Like, or I'm gonna kick
Yeah.
my own ass. Like, I'm gonna get ahead of where I'm trying to go. I'm just gonna be because I'm putting in the effort. I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the repetition. And so I think like when you continue to grow, like never stop learning,
Mm-hmm.
never stop investing, never stop producing, and make sure to take time to be present. That's something that I could be a lot better at is departmentalizing in all the roles that I have. Father,
Yes.
son, husband, and just being as good as you possibly can be at each of those roles. So yeah, I don't know what it will be like in the next 5 years or so, but I hope I just have the ability to maintain my core discipline and continue to grow as an individual.
I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see.
Maybe I'll have a better golf game.
That's right. That's right. All right. This has been so good. Thank you for being here. Tell everyone listening, where can they find you and follow you for more of all of this goodness?
Sure. Yeah. You guys can go to my Instagram's probably the best place, just at Cameron Hemphill, Cameron, Hemphill, Hemphill. It's got all the links and all my content in there.
All right. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate your time.
Here's what I want you to take away from today's conversation. It's not that Cameron had a better strategy or worked harder than everyone else. It's that he could see clearly what was working, what wasn't, what each business actually needed at that moment. He took the honest picture and then he acted on it. That's the work. Not more hustle, not waiting until the revenue is there to invest in structure. Taking an honest look at your real situation, your parking lot, your frenemy, your limiting beliefs, and then making the committed decision to build toward the freedom you actually want. If today's conversation hit a nerve, if you found yourself thinking, that's me at any point, that's your sign. Text CONNECT to 317-245-3255. Let's figure out what your real situation is and build from there. She Thinks Big is hosted by me, Andrea Libros. Do me a favor. If you aren't already, please follow the show wherever you're listening and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And go find me on Instagram at andrea.libros.coaching. I'll see you next week for a brand new episode. Till then, think big.